Hello everybody, it's me Lemoni. Happy Tuesday, and today I have a little bit of an Azoth and gold maker for you that is going to be extremely crucial that you do this within the next 2 to 3 weeks and not later. We need to take advantage of this now before it is out of the game. You may be familiar with this, but I'm back at my kitchen making hearty meals. Now, why am I doing that? Well, if you're somebody who's struggling for some Azoth, maybe looking for a pretty cheap gold flip, I've got you covered. There's some things we can do pertaining to these hearty meal crafts, and we can have a little bit of an operation setup that I'll walk you through so that you can have endless amounts of Azoth. Like, for example, I have 57 in my inventory with another 100 in my bank just from crafting this and just doing a little bit today. You can flip ingredients. You can make profit by pulling extra ingredients. So in general, we've got a solid Azoth farm and a solid gold farm. As always, if you want to connect with me, feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Join up in our Discord. Send me a DM if you need anything. Follow us on Twitch. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting around 10:30 a.m.-ish Central Time. Somewhere between 10 to 11, I will be live for 5 hours at least. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok. If you want to join our company on NA East Eden, you are free to. We are Covenant. Just let me know. I can start getting you in the company. We'll get more things rolling. Last thing, if you want to support me directly, feel free to hit up my Patreon. I release early content, ask for more input, all kinds of stuff like that, and just show you other games I'm playing. And next, if you wouldn't mind doing that weird YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, tell your grandma, your grandpa, everybody you know, I would appreciate it. But anyway, what are we doing today? We're taking advantage of the kitchen tier system and getting Aptitude containers to pull crazy amounts of ingredients, to potentially flip gold, but to really make Azoth vials. Now, why is that important? Well, with the current PTR and the patch coming, you do not get nearly as many Azoth vials. I'm going to show you how I got all this and everything I received from about 20 containers. But in the current patch, we are getting about one vial per container. They are nerfing the amount of Azoth vials you get, which is why you are starting to see Azoth vials increase in price. So why is this important? Well, we use Azoth to pump BIS items. We use Azoth to travel around the world. And sure, they're getting rid of the distance component, but you're still going to be paying Azoth whenever you're going anywhere. You also pay Azoth for respecs. I am always low on Azoth. Now, Azoth vials are about 28 gold, sometimes 30 a piece. They're still increasing. Last week, they were at 12, to put that in perspective. As we get closer and closer to the patch, people are stockpiling these so that they don't have to sit here and pay for their Azoth. Now, this is either something you can do, or you can take advantage of this crafting system now, stockpile as many as you can, and keep selling them after the patch goes live. All right, so what is this system we're doing? Well, if any of you watched my getting gypsum per day video, you're gonna be familiar with how we get our emerald gypsum, that being making these hearty meals. Now, if you didn't know, it's about 105 hearty meals per aptitude tick-ish, somewhere in that range. I just craft 105 to get each one, and that should put you in a good spot. But the big thing to note is, how do we actually craft these? Well, we need 1 tier 5 food, and then we need 3 raw foods, and then we need a seasoning. So for seasoning, you can use like honey or sugar. These raw foods, I have a list of things that are always pretty cheap, and same with the tier 5s, so that we can craft these hearty meals for a decent price and get a high return. All right, so now with this system of crafting, how are we going to do this? What things are we going to be using in order to craft? Well, I have a list of tier 5 foods that I think are cheap. I have a list of raw foods that I think are cheap, and I have a list of seasonings. So first thing, for tier 5 foods, these are the ones I focus on getting. String beans. String beans are always a solid price, usually around 30 cents per. Again, it's a little sparse, but don't do this the entire day. Just do it maybe to start off your day, get a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to talk about how I actually set up my operation, but string beans are a good tier 5. Rice is another good tier 5 if you can get them cheap. The other one that's going to be cheapest is always pork belly. That's the last one I do because so many people farm pigs, and right now I would be going for pork belly, most definitely. Sometimes people post apples for cheap. That's like my optional, 4th tier. Sometimes they're cheaper at the end of the day. Sometimes they're cheaper in the morning. Totally up to you. As far as the raw foods go, here are the ones I focus on. Red meat. Red meat is always just a solid one, right? Decent price for raw food. Remember, we need 3 of these raw foods. Second one is going to be pork. Pork is decent price. Right now it's a little expensive on the server, but we can kind of minimize that once we get our system going. Blueberries are always somewhat cheap for the most part. Right now they're 40 cents per, a little expensive, so I probably wouldn't do that. But again, with our system, it gets better. Fish fillets, we can do those. Again, depends on the timing of the day. I would probably buy fish fillets over blueberries right now. Milk. Milk is going to be my last one that I think is relatively cheap. And those are the really big ones. At this point in time that I use for crafting these. Now for spices, there's 2 I do, and one of these is actually an optional ingredient, honey. Honey is generally cheap. If you need a filler ingredient because all those other things are too expensive, just use honey and don't use this as your spice. But if everything works out in your favor, you have a lot of the other stuff, use honey as your optional spice. But you can't go wrong with a lot of these seasonings. Just depends, go through saffron. That's another solid one. If we look, oregano, that's a solid one if you can get it cheap. All of these are relatively cheap, but I'm going to say ones like saffron, sage, peppercorn is generally cheap, but the real big one that I usually use too is sugar, because sugar is very abundant. So this is always, if everything's just really super cheap at that time, go for sugar. But the big thing for you is I'm going to give you all these options that you just heard, but you have to figure out what is cheapest at that point in time. Now, for actually making a system of this, we're going to take advantage of the buy order system. So what I do at the start of the day, or right before I log off, is I set buy orders for about 2,000 of certain foods. I craft my 2,000 hearty meals, and then that'll translate into aptitude containers for Azoth. So I find some of those foods that I've been, using a lot. I'll set up when I think it's at a solid price, and then I'll buy a ton. So like just showing you some of my completed ones. I'm buying, let's see. Yeah, I'm buying 2,000 milk. I bought a bunch of sugar, bought 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, right? These are all off of buy orders. And the thing is that when you use a buy order, let's say something like pork, okay, this is the real big thing for the system. They'll say I set a buy order. Well, with pork right now, it's going for 0.2. Buy orders are at 0.13. So set up a buy order for 0.14 at 2,000. You're bound to get a bunch. If you just set up buy orders for a lot of the things that I said to look for, you should have a pretty optimal system that I'll just dump into your storage container. Worst case scenario, you can just flip them for some extra gold if you really, really, really want to and still make some profit. But the big thing is, if you want to save money and create a system for this, you need to use buy orders. And so like I was saying, at a time, right? I just put down 2,000 pork, right? Throw it in there. Worst case scenario, you don't get it all. You cancel the buy order, you get whatever money back, right? It's like you put in a cash deposit and then you lose some on tax, but it is definitely worth it. So we are crafting hearty meals. How much would this actually cost us to craft? Well, let's say we took pork as one ingredient. We got them at 0.14 a piece. Okay. So we have 0.14. We'll just put that there. I'll just put this on a calculator. So we have pork. I think red meat is always a cheap one. So we'll say, what's the buy order for this? I'll say 0.12. That's 2 ingredients down. What's going to be my next cheapest? I'll probably say, let's check milk. Milk's always a solid one. If the buy order is low, look at that buy order, right? I can do a 10-cent buy order. That puts me at 0.36. All right, now let's find a tier 3 ingredient that's probably pretty cheap. It'll look like pork belly, I think. This will probably be at a solid buy order, 0.23, so we'll say 0.24 for my buy order. That puts me at 60 cents. And then we need a spice. I think saffron was pretty cheap instead of honey. So what's the buy order for saffron right now? 4 cents per, which we, again, could flip if we wanted to. But like, let's just say, I do a 0.05 buy order. And that's going to be 102 gold that you spend for 2,000 to get that spice. So I'm just going to place that now because I'll use those later. But we'll add that 0.05. That's going to put us at about 65 cents per hearty meal. Obviously, these prices will fluctuate. It's going to cost you anywhere from, I would say, 65 cents to 90 cents per hearty meal. Right now, I can sell my hearty meals. So if I go hearty meal, I'm selling them for about 0.13. I'll probably just undercut it 0.12. And so that nets us a loss of, we'll just say 0.12. That nets us a loss of 0.53 gold. Now, how do we actually make that back? That is where the aptitude containers come in. So I'm going to show you the results I got from a bunch of aptitude containers. And then after that, we're going to go through and I will explain how much things are worth, where we can get our gains. So again, if we're crafting about 0.53 net loss per, so we'll say, what was it? 0.65 cents just at right now on server time, 65 cents per hearty meal. We craft 2,000, right? So if we do a 0.65 times 2,000, that's going to put us at about 1,300 gold. Right? If I can make anything over 1,300 gold, I'm in the black, right? I make profit. So that's the way you look at it. I have my about 2,000 meals-ish. It comes out to about 2,100 meals on top of what else I had on top of me. And then I can show you, I have no Azoth vials, no other ingredients because I just emptied my inventory. And here's what I got. I got 7 of each. So let's start opening up some of them and I'll just show you. So good things we're looking for, salt. Salt is a big one. You'll make a ton of money off of salt. On top of this, everything should sell, right? Everything's needed, but we're getting those Azoth vials. Salt's a big one. Tarragon's a big one. And I can show you some prices. Bear Flank, Sumptuous Rabbit, and these are just the tier 1s. We're getting all those vials. 1 to 2 vials per in the tier 1s. And let's open up some of the tier 2s. Rich Bear Flanks, good money there. We're getting tons of spices, more vials. We just keep going. Just a little bit at a time. Then we get these big ones sometimes. Real big ones you're looking for. Again, Sumptuous Rabbit. That'll be a real big money maker, and like Tarragon. All right, and we're done with that. Salt again. Salt is huge right now. And then here are tier 3s. So 4 vials in this one. Again, more salt, so bear flanks, more bear flanks. 3 in that one. 4 in this one. 3 in that one. 3 in that one. Again, more stuff. Prime red meat. Here we go. I didn't get any Sumptuous Rabbits. That's 8 of those. Those are going for at least like 60 gold a piece on our server. So that's about 500 gold that I just made on just that Sumptuous Rabbit one. There again. And I got a little recipe there. So what did I get at the end of the day? We have all these meals. We can sell these for like 15 cents per. So it's not that great. But here are all my cooking mats. Again, Sumptuous Rabbits. Those are going for like 60 gold a piece. Bear Flanks, about like 20-ish, depending on where you're at. And then, garlic, that's like 8 a piece. We look at all these spices. We're definitely in the money, especially once we start calculating in salt. Salt always sells. That's enough extra money. But where's the real money at? I just made another 57 vials of Azoth. Sorry, I misspoke. But those are increasing in price. It's just easy money. Once at the end of the day, if we get all these, sure, you don't net a ton, but you're essentially just printing money in this sense. If we sell everything, we look at some of these prices, you will be good to go. And it is a little bit of RNG, right? I could pull Sumptuous Rabbits in every single one and just make bank. I could pull Bear Flanks in all of them. I could just pull a ton of salt. Who knows? But regardless, if I post all this stuff, you are sure to make profit. But the big one is these Azoth vials. 57 from opening up, how many is that? 21 caches. I think that's a pretty good return, and we didn't even have to spend that much money when you look at it, and then you have a ton of extra cooking ingredients. All right, so let's get back. What items are going to make you profit? So like I was showing you before, I got Sumptuous Rabbits, I got Bear Flanks, I have all these seasonings. Most seasonings, depending on what it is, Tarragon's going to be a big one, and I didn't actually get any in that other poll that I just did, but I got like 20 of it. Oh, I misspoke. I got 24. So the big ones are going to be like, let's look at salts right now, okay? So I got a bunch of salts from this run. And again, our target number here is about 1,300 per. This is the cheapest price for salt at the moment. If I look at my sell orders, I actually put some salt up earlier. I sold 5 salt for 500 gold a piece. So we'll post that for a day, 100 a piece. If I make that, that's 7,800 gold, right? You know what? I'm feeling lucky. Let's go 150 because there's no way people are paying 300 per because these have been sitting here all day long. So let's do that. And that is essentially just our whole gain right there. And I just proved to you that people are actually buying them. So we go like that. We put that in. Salt is a big one right now. I don't know why. There's a lot of foods that you make with salt, but people are buying it. Bear Flanks, 13 per. Here we go. 39 per right now, a little under what I thought, but I'll just tell them, we'll go 38.75. So about 39, right? I posted 15. Again, another like 450 gold-ish, we'll just say, after taxes, all that stuff. So between just those, we already netted like a 700 or so gain. And then if we start looking at something like Tarragon, salt prices are just obscene right now, but Tarragon, 27 per. How many did I get? 36 in this last run. Here we go. And boom, we'll just put at 27. And just those 3 items, even without the salt, is going to cover my 1,300 gold that it required me to craft these. And then again, I have all of this other stuff that I can start to sell too, right? All these other spices, sure, they're not as much, but like something like garlic, right? Garlic's one I went way back with. I go to garlic and boom, we're looking at, okay, I don't know why that's posted, but I'm going to buy those, right? People post them for 25 cents. Why'd you do that when I can sell them for, like, we'll just post them for 650? Like, why not, right? Check the buy orders. Sometimes people mess those up and they're a little bit higher, but we'll just say like 650, right? And I just made another 300 at least gold. It is essentially just printing money right now. And so take advantage of that. And now let's say I go Azoth, right? suspended vials. And this is all before my suspended Azoth, right? You could sell your Azoth 28 gold per. I have a bunch sitting in my bank, but I made 57 on that last pull. We'll say that at 28 gold per. I mean, that's profit. That's always going to be profit. I have all these. I have all these still that I can sell. And it's not a ton of gain, but it's still some on the top. So again, the profitability is there. You minimal work, you're just flipping ingredients and people are buying them. All right, so I hope that's going to help you with all of your Azoth and gold needs. Again, you can sit there, you can just do this all day long if you really want to. If your prices are solid, you start getting some really, really good deals and you take advantage of the buy orders. So I want to give you a TLDR. What are we doing? We're crafting hearty meals and we're setting buy orders at significantly below their sell price so that we can maximize our profit line and we can gain essentially free gold by flipping, just other people's food into other people's food that people are going to use, right? And we're going to get Azoth vials that we can sell if you need to. Look, I just got 1,700 gold from something. I don't know what it was. And it's easy money, easy Azoth. And the big reason why we have to do this now is once the patch hits, we will no longer be able to get as much Azoth. We're only gonna get like 1 to 2 vials per. In those tier 3 containers, I'm getting like 4 or 5, at a time. So take advantage of this system, and it is only driving up the Azoth vial cost. If you want to connect with me, feel free to leave a comment, join the Discord, leave me a DM, follow me on Twitch. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., somewhere in between there, typically 10:30 a.m. Central Time, and I go for about 5-6 hours. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff. And if you want to support me directly, feel free to hit my Patreon. What do I do on my Patreon? I release early content. I give other ideas. I give other gameplay footage of other games that I'm playing. And I just try to interact with you. And it's another point of contact between the two of us if you can't get a hold of me. So, as always, thank you to all of my Patreons. Thank you, Jacob, Thuggius, Shane, Gil, Anarino, Jero, Nathaniel, Thonar, Joseph, Tarvi, Generic, I, Ronan, Ralph, Bob, Florian, Blue Beagle, GD, BJ, Kitchens, Dexter, Rich, Rob, Josh, Mashal, Nade, Rich, and Somanex. Thank you all for your support, but thank you to every single one of you just for watching the video. As always, if you could please leave a comment, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, tell everybody you know, I'd appreciate it. But nonetheless, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. But thank you to every single one of you for being you.